This week's topic is energy consumption and demand side management. To understand and manage energy demand, we will focus on four subjects: consumption by source for different end use sectors, energy prices by source, carbon dioxide emissions, and demand side management and policies to deal with energy demand. For energy consumption by source, we want to answer two questions. How much do end use sectors consume energy? And what are the primary energy sources to meet this demand? This chart shows the energy consumption by four end use sectors in the United States: industrial sector, transportation sector, residential buildings, and commercial buildings. And we can see that since the 1950s, the demand by the end use sectors has been constantly growing. However, towards the most recent years, the demand growth has been largely slowed down, and the reason is because energy efficiency improvement. This chart shows detailed energy consumption every month from 2012 to 2014. And we do see that energy consumption in transportation and industrial sectors are constant, but seasonal trend can be seen for energy consumption in residential and commercial buildings. And this seasonal trend suggests an increased energy consumption during winter time. Now let's take a close look at the residential building energy consumption. This pie chart is energy consumption in 2014, and we can see that electricity and natural gas are the two primary energy sources for meeting energy demand in residential buildings. Electricity-related losses is also significant. This includes the inefficient energy production in the electric power sector and also the losses in transmission and distribution lines. The long-term trend of residential energy consumption suggests that households in the United States consume less coal, more renewable energy, less petroleum, and more electricity. Natural gas consumption by residential building has been increasing from 1950 to 1970, but the natural gas demand after 1970s has been constant. The seasonal trend is also above years for natural gas and electricity consumption. During wintertime, residential buildings consume a much higher level of natural gas, while summertime natural gas consumption is very low. Electricity consumption is high in winter and summer and low in spring and fall. This is the energy consumption in commercial buildings. Again, electricity and natural gas are the primary sources to meet commercial demand. Electricity-related losses is also significant. Commercial buildings also have similar trend as residential buildings in terms of energy consumption by source. Natural gas consumption has been relatively constant since the 1970s, while electricity consumption is increasing. Coal consumption has been largely reduced, as well as petroleum consumption. Commercial building energy consumption also shows seasonal trend in terms of high level of natural gas in winter and low consumption of natural gas in summer. Electricity consumption is high in summer due to space heating. This pie chart shows the 2014 industrial energy consumption. Electricity, natural gas, and petroleum are the primary sources for industrial energy demand. The long-term trend for industrial sector suggests that this sector consumes a lot of petroleum and natural gas for a variety of industrial processes. Electricity consumption is much lower than natural gas and petroleum. coal consumption has been declining, while renewable energy consumption has been increasing. There's no obvious seasonal trend in terms of natural gas and petroleum consumption for industries. Similarly, electricity, coal, and renewable energy consumption is also constant, does not change very much from month to month. Energy consumption in the transportation sector is primarily met by petroleum. Electricity is a small part, and biomass is another small part. And the form of biomass energy is ethanol and biodiesel. Energy consumption of petroleum has been increasing in the transportation sector, except the most recent years we do see a decline in petroleum. On the other side, the consumption for renewable energy has been increasing. Seasonal trend is not obvious. This is a total primary energy consumption in the country in the year of 2014. Petroleum consumption is primarily by the transportation sector. Industries also consume a relatively large amount of petroleum. Natural gas is used by industries and residential commercial buildings for power generation. Coal is primarily used for power generation. Renewable energy is used for power generation, and a small part of renewables are used by industries and transportation. Nuclear power is used only by the electric power sector. Other industrialized countries have energy consumption pattern that is similar to the US. For example, this is energy consumption by the United Kingdom. Natural gas, petroleum, coal, and renewables are the primary sources. Japan has a different pattern. Japan consumes petroleum and natural gas a lot, but they also consume a lot of coal. Developing countries have somehow very different patterns in terms of energy consumption. For example, China consumes a very large portion of coal. Oil is only 20% of energy consumption. Hydropower supplies about 8% of energy consumption in that country. Natural gas is smaller than hydro. Brazil is also very different. Brazil consumes a lot of hydropower, 29%. 44% is petroleum. Biofuel is 5%, which is also significant. Natural gas is about 11%. Coal is small, 5%. Another 5% comes from other renewables